Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ron Spikes. As we get started in this, I just want to say I hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day. I hope everything is going right for you, and I hope that we can give you some information to take into your Memorial Day. I know today is one of those days I'm looking around to make sure all of my equipment is working because I sometimes have a problem with all of my equipment working. So today is one of those days. It's called Memorial Day, and I just want to tell all the soldiers out there, thank you for your service. And I guess Memorial Day is one of those times that's giving up for soldiers that have given their life, and we don't never want to forget them at all. We want to take them into account everything that we do. And here's what I'll say on this. You know, every time they come up with veterans pay and stuff like that, people think that pay when they support veterans that's just for supporting the veterans that's alive and for VA hospitalization and all of that. No, it's for supporting those veterans that paid the highest cost too. They have died and they have moved on. You even have relatives that have died and moved on. They've been buried at the VA cemeteries. But here's the other part that I want to add to, that most people never take into accountability, and that is that we have a lot of soldiers that's buried out of this country that the VA also has to support and take care of. They didn't always have air conditioning and refrigeration. They didn't always ship all the bodies home. When they were in the war, they left them in the countries that they were. And so the U.S. pays for the ability to use that land over there and the upkeep. I was privileged to go to one of those cemeteries, and I saw what they were doing, and I actually participated in the color guard over there in one of those cemeteries out of the country. And I know France has one. Almost every country over there has a large cemetery, probably bigger than the one that you have in your state or your city. It's very few that's bigger than the one that's not as big, that's bigger than the one that's in France. So I just want to tell you, today is Memorial Day. I salute you. I salute you. I salute you. I appreciate your service, and I appreciate how we got here. You know, I'm not going to take that much time because I got a lot to say in such a short period of time. And as I get into this, I hope that more people are taking the time to pay attention. You know, we didn't get here overnight. We're standing on the shoulders of generations who fought, led, marched, sung, sang, organized, broadcast, and died so we could stand here today. This is not a moment. This is not a moment. This is lineage. Means that it was already there. The only thing we have to do is follow. I think somehow we get caught up in not following. So today I want to do this as a reminder. I want to do this as a point where we can make a difference. I want to remind, as James Brown said, I'm black and I'm proud. The reason why he could stand up and say that because he's seen the struggles that people went through. So that's what I call the show. I'm black and I'm proud. You know, Dr. King never said give up. Not in that speech, not in the speech, not in no speech, not in any speech, not in any sermon, not in any letter that you see out there did Dr. King never say give up. Not even when he was in a jail cell did he say give up. Not in a march when they was putting dogs and everything else on him. He didn't say give up. He never did. But here's the part that people always understand. They always understand, I have a dream. And I'm not saying they take it out of context, but it's another part to that comes right after the dream, and that's our challenge. When I say our challenge, that's for us to carry on his dream. I may not get there with you. It's a challenge that he gives to us to continue. He wasn't surrendering. He wasn't warning us. He was preparing us by telling us that we got to carry on that fight. We as Black people got to carry on that fight. I listened to all these, let me just say it. I listened to other people use social media and they say, well, they act like it's not there. They act like they can't follow it. They act like it didn't happen. Well, some people don't know. Because even when I got on here, I had a better thumbnail than I got on here with. And what the thumbnail had a picture of Dr. Martin Luther King. Let me lean out of the way. Let me see if I can get out of the way real quick. It had Dr. King, where my picture is, and it had people marching up the way, marching up the hill, going to the dream. But you know what it told me? It said that young people gonna turn off this because they can't identify with Dr. Martin Luther King. They don't know who he is. So I want to encourage you to go out there and make sure that your grandkids, kids, anybody that's out there, make sure that they know who Dr. Martin Luther King. Don't let them just give you a story. Make sure that they know. Make sure that they know, because if they don't know that, we're doomed anyway. And the part where you say it's my body might not make it, but the mission is a must. That line encourages. That line was meant for people now. It wasn't a concession. It was a clarity, not a collapse. And here's the thing that irks me the most. And I know people got jobs. But are you concerned about why we should vote? And that's the reason why I do shows like this, because I want to uplift us, give us a reason to stand up. I want us to know our mission. I want us to know where we're going. I want us to understand some things. I want us to do it with pride. Something like voting. Do it with pride. It was a man who understood the cost of what he was doing, and he still kept walking. This is about us. Here's the truth sitting underneath. He never, and I need to drive this home underneath that moment. He never told us to stop. He told us to keep going, even if he couldn't. You know what he was doing at that time? He was passing the baton. He transferred the assignment at that time to us, the people that's still here, the people that's still breathing, the people that still got the ability to make a difference. That was his transfer of power to us. He was making sure that the movement didn't die with the man. And nowhere, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it one more time, nowhere in that speech or any other did he ever say, quit, fold, retreat, surrender, wait your turn, accept less, lower your vision. He said, dream. He said, march. He said, stand. He said, fight. He said, keep moving. And he said, let justice roll on. But yet today, with all this technology that we have, with what I'm doing right now, and what other people have the ability to do that's out there, we still question. We would rather make the message about us than to make it about helping a people continue to march Dr. Martin Luther King. Because Dr. King wasn't just speaking to people, he wasn't just speaking to those people in front of him. He was speaking to the people that was coming after him. He was challenging a generation and a generation after them I want that to sink in. He was challenging a generation and a generation after them to keep fighting long after his voice was gone. Maybe you didn't hear me. To keep fighting long after his voice was gone. That line, I may not get there with you. I'm gonna keep saying this. So maybe somebody get it. That was that baton. That was not a farewell. He was saying, my time runs out. Your responsibility to some may not have ever started. Does not. He knew the mountain was bigger than one man. And I showed you the people marching up the mountain earlier. Just think about it. He knew the mountain was bigger than one man. He knew the struggle was longer than one lifetime. I'm going to say that again. He knew the struggle was longer than one lifetime. He knew the enemy wasn't going to fold because one leader failed. And that's the thing that we got to keep in our mind in this Trump era. It doesn't matter what Trump is doing. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. We cannot fold. And what they did during that time to keep it going, their time, they kept marching. They kept organizing. They kept demanding dignity. They kept pushing the country toward its promise. They kept the fight even when the fight feels endless. I want to do this because I need us to feel like we have a purpose. I want us to feel like we have to get out and vote, not because of what that man in office is doing to us, but because people gave us something to go on ahead of time before they left this place. You know, the reason why kids don't understand, or the reason why people are not coming behind us to vote, because we're not sharing the right things with. We're not reminding them of the things that people paid their life for. Dr. King's words, words were never meant to comfort us into silence. They were meant to provoke us into action. He was challenging the people who had every reason to quit and refuse. And that's the way some of y'all feel right now with this man that's in office. But if he went through what he went through to had a harder, it was harder for him. Why can't we do it? That's a challenge to everybody. When he challenged that generation, he didn't want you to get tired. He wanted you to keep going. He was challenging a nation that was comfortable to confront itself. That meant that at the time when he was there, the sheets were still on. They were still trying to sell you to vote for them. So they had to keep the sheets on. They had to put them behind closed doors and stuff. Or they didn't bring them out till they had a rally or something going on. But today they don't even put on sheets. They just tell you right to your face that you don't amount to anything. And we accept that. We accept that. And the reason why I say we accept that is because we don't get out to vote in numbers. We don't get out to vote. We don't get out to support people in numbers. And I'm not saying support people that's not doing anything for you. I'm saying support the ones that are doing something for you. And here's where the baton lands in our hands. Dr. King couldn't see the technology that we have today. What I'm doing right now, he didn't have the ability to do. He had to get on buses. He had to use other people's cars. He had to go from place to place. He couldn't even walk into restaurants to sit down and get something to eat. And most of the places, he couldn't even use the bathroom. But he still managed to do more than what we're doing right now with the same technology. Yep, that's the part that we don't get. I know it's a hard part, but we need to understand that this technology is not just to talk about what somebody else is doing. This technology can help us secure our future. if we use it the right way, if we come together with a message that unifies us. I heard the other day when I was listening to satellite radio, they said that, you know what, "Make America Great" was a slogan. The Democrats have never came up with a slogan that resonated with people. I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. So we need to come up with something that resonates with the people that we asking to get their vote. If we want to change where we at, we evidently we need better planners. You know, he saw the assignment. They marched. We broadcast. They faced dogs and hoses of firemen blowing them off the road and doing whatever. They didn't care about the injury of those people. But you know what we face? And I want to tell this story so you can understand. You know what we face? All the rhythms, apathy, and it's another part to all the rhythms that I want to relate to. And I'm gonna take my time to spell this out because I think that as a people, when we see stories on broadcasts, on YouTube, wherever you get your social media from, do your research. If you don't do nothing more than ask Google, whatever search engine that you're in, if you don't do no more than ask them, is this true? Because if you put it out and it's not true, you're hurting us as a people. You're hurting us as a people. If it's a family that lost a loved one through what we call police tragedies and stuff like that, you're putting that family right back through that same tragedy if you don't go out and do your research. And that's important. And I know this is the type of stuff that most people don't want to hear, but you need to hear it. So anyway, I'm gonna move on, but I just need to stay there because we use that algorithm. We'll sacrifice everything that we stand for to get higher numbers. And I always say, at what cost? Are we willing to sacrifice everybody just to get higher numbers? Just asking a question. Malcolm told us, by any means necessary. By any means necessary. That includes the tools they never seen. This is a tool that they never seen. Nobody even knew it was coming. Nobody knew that we was going to have the ability to do what they call impossible at that time. But we still don't respect the sacrifice that they made to get it out there. And that's the reason why I want to do this in a way that calls respect to them and give you some information that you can go out and research for yourself and let you know who has sacrificed for us. You know, most of all, I want you to stop waiting. Use your voice, use your platform. Saturate the media with our truth, not your truth, our truth as a people. Let's stop making it our truth and make it everybody so everybody can hear it. We got the ability to do it. And if it's ever any time in history to do it, this will be the time to do it while people are out there. Even as you go through your day and you take that piece of barbecue chicken, and yeah, I like barbecue chicken too, and you take that barbecue sausage or whatever's your favorite, potato salad, whatever, and just enjoying the time out. Just make sure that you get out there and say something about us positive. Make sure that you share something about us positive. You know, and this is the reason why I say that more than anything, because I saw people who chose death over bondage, and they had just got off the boat and they didn't have nothing to live for because they chose death over bondage. And that happened off the coast of Georgia. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. The question is, do we have the principles to stand united? In spite of everything that they put before us. And that's key, because in spite of everything that they put before us is important. Because you've seen people do that, and they had less than we did. But they marched. They marched. But here's the thing that I need you to understand. Because I need to break this down, because nobody else is doing this. And that's my telephone. I don't know who it is, but I'm going to tell you this. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody. And I'm going to tell you like this. Marching didn't start in Selma. Marching didn't start in 1963. Let me call some names, because these 5 alone tell you who fought before then. And tell you that the fight shouldn't stop with Dr. Martin Luther King. But these names right here were there before Dr. Martin Luther King. And they inspired him probably to do the things that he's doing, to change where we're at. Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Ida B. Wells, W.E.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey. Harriet Tubman said, I could have saved many more if they only knew they were slaves. And too many of us acting like slaves today. Too many of us act like slaves. We follow a narrative, and we don't even investigate if it's true or not. They don't have to run the rope up the tree to hang us, because we're climbing the tree and putting ourselves in the loop, in the loop of the rope. Because we're not taking our time. We're not sharing information in the proper way. We rather just, hey man, long as my algorithms go up, long as I get paid, long as, hey, that's what I'm gonna do. At what cost? The people that I just called, those are the roots. Those are the foundations from where we got our strength to get where we at today. Those are the ones who fought when fighting meant death. But yet we're chasing algorithms and payments. I'm doing this so I can break this down, because it's important that we understand. I called out Dr. Martin Luther King. And I want to tell you something about the civil rights architects. It was Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker. They marched, they organized, they bled, and they died. You know, there were some mantras out there too. And I'm going to call their names too, because with some martyrs out there, and I'm gonna call their names too, because martyrs served some purpose, served a higher purpose, and they gave it all. If you don't know who they are, please go out there and Google them. Jimmy Lee Jackson, the little 4 girls of Birmingham, James Chaney, not the Chaney that you think I'm talking about, Andrew Goodman, Vernon Dowman, Viola Lazosa. I can't get her name right, but she gave her life in blood for the soul of our freedom. And I know it don't mean much to y'all, because you younger people, y'all can go out there and see videotapes and all the rest of that. And maybe my pronunciation of their names is a little bit comical to you. But those people gave their lives. They didn't give up. They didn't turn to the next YouTube video. They didn't say, I don't want to hear that. They took what they was doing and they used it. So I just want to, I'm gonna keep going because I can't tell a story unless I let you know how we got here and who some of the names that stand out, that should stand out in your mind when you hear them. It should resonate something within your mind. It should tell you where you're at. Because as you cook that barbecue today in Memorial and on Memorial Day for remembering soldiers, we got to also remember the people who got us here. For some of y'all, it's just a day off. For some of y'all, it's not even what I'm saying. Don't even make any sense. But if it don't make sense to you now, it will make sense to you later. When you repeat the same thing that some of these people fought for you to get away from, it will make sense later. So I'm gonna continue going. The defenders, and if I don't call out somebody's name and I missed it, it's because I'm trying to get this out to the people that need to hear it. And if I miss something, go out there and tell me. Put it out there. Just tell me, email me, do whatever you have to do. Just get it to me. I'll try to put that out. But here's the defenders: the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, Bobby Hutton. Do you know that Fred Hampton, that they actually set him up? I'm going to say it. They actually set him up to be killed by getting the blueprints to his organization of everything that he was doing. And you know what they were doing? They fed the children. They protected the community in which they was in. And they challenged the system that was in effect then. But it cost Fred Hampton his life because somebody didn't like the message. Now I'm going to get to what I call a bridge. The Rainbow Coalition. Fred Hampton's original Rainbow Coalition. See, I want you to listen to what I'm saying because this is a moment of teaching. The Rainbow Coalition, Fred Hampton's original Rainbow Coalition. Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson, the National Rainbow Coalition, carried that torch until his last breath. Carried that torch until his last breath. So as we out there today, we got some memorials too. I don't want to get too far ahead, but I need you to understand that that torch was carried. It was picked up by Fred Hampton, and then Reverend Jesse Jackson picked it up. Because I need to go into this so you can understand what Jesse did and what's still going on today. National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton, NAN, organizations, organizers, nationwide. They are keeping the fight alive. From Howard Beach to George Floyd. He's still keeping the fight alive, and he's still on TV fighting the same battles that they was fighting back then. As a matter of fact, it's worse. It's worse now because they have taken the sheets off. And they got every office in the land. And they turning it against us every chance that they get. So that battle that Dr. Martin Luther King and everybody fought for, if we don't continue to get out and vote, you know where we're going back to? That's where we're going back to. And I said it and somebody cut it off in one of my shorts. We might end up back out there picking cotton to try to survive. Let that sink in. You know, we had a bunch of courtroom soldiers, legal warriors, and I'm gonna call their name: Thurgood Marshall, Charles Hamilton Houston, Constance Baker Motley, Fred Gray, Brian Stevenson, Johnny Cochran, even Benjamin Crump. They marched into courtrooms where justice was never designed for us. I'm gonna say that again. They marched into courtrooms where justice was never designed for us. Some of them are still going. Some of them have gone on. But it's just a battle that they take on every day. I want to continue this down because we need to know there was just more people. There's people out there still fighting these battles and still trying to do what they do. Some of them have been knocked down a notch, but they still are out there fighting a battle, and they've been fighting this battle, and they should get the justice that they deserve. I'm gonna call a few names, and they're broadcasters: Tavis Smiley, Roland Martin, Don Lemon, Ed Gordon, Kathy Hughes, Tom Joyner, Joe Madison, Joy Reid, April Ryan, even Charlemagne the God. Even Charlemagne the God. And if I miss somebody's name, I apologize. But they're still continuing to march on through microphones and cameras. That list is continuing to march on through microphones and cameras. The same thing that I'm doing right here today. The same thing that you have the ability to do on your page. The same thing that you have the ability to go out there and listen to other people that's spreading the news in a positive way. People like Jasmine Crockett, Christian Menifee, Reverend Judge Al Green. Well, ex-Congressman Al Green, plus Judge. They're delivering a message that we can follow, that we can get behind. And if you hear something within social media that grabs your attention, go that way. Don't just give up. Continue to grow. Continue to grow. We got talk show hosts that became cultural amplifiers. Talk show hosts that continued to carry the mission that we're carrying. And that probably was the only touch to us as a people by the people who we saw. Arsenio Hall, Oprah Winfrey, Montel Williams. They gave us national stages when no one else would. Let me just say this because I'm calling out names and people might say, well, I can go Google it. Yeah, you can. I don't have no problem with you going to Google it, but are you? Some of us lived through it. But it seems like the younger generation is not willing to pay attention to it because they don't see the fight. They don't see the struggle. Maybe as we talk to them on the airways like we're doing right now, maybe if we talk to them and give them the information so they can go out and look at it, because I hate to think that the only thing that we do, the only thing that they say that we won't do is look in a book. They say if they want to hide it from us, the only thing they have to do is put it in a book and make us read it. They did research on that. And that's how they came up with that conclusion. So the actors and entertainers, cultural messengers that come across our airways that came across our airways and continue to come across our airways today, that's showing us that we can be who we want to be if we apply ourselves. Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, Ozzie Davis, and Ruby Dee, Cicely Tyson, Paul Robeson. Please go out there and research Paul Robeson because that's a story that you can't tell too often. For the times that he was there, Dick Gregory. He didn't came on the airways before. I heard him speak personally on these airways through another process that we had set up, trying to deliver the same message. But he was telling a story, and he made you question what he was doing, and he gave you opportunity to go out there and research it for yourself, which is the same thing that I'm saying. I just want to say this: Denzel Washington, Angela Bassett, Viola Davis, Samuel Jackson. They display a modern day that we can relate to, but they display it in a way that gives mostly Dignity is the word that I want to say. Probably not the characters that they play, but how they go about pursuing their work is with dignity. And most of them, when you talk to them off the air, they still are in the fight. You know, we have a couple of people that's on the front line that's out there right now. And they doing the same thing that I am. They got a bigger audience. And I want you to know who they are, because even if you're not getting information from me, you may be able to get some information from them. But I still tell you to go out and ask Google or Chrome or whatever GPT source that you have in front of you, whatever you use to make sure your information is true. Use it. Just ask one question. If you hear about it, know what you saw. Write that in. Type it in, or say it. If you, for some of you other people, because my grandson good at that. He said, "No, granddad, I'm gonna Google it." What he does is he puts that little microphone. He say, "Hey Google, is this true? Hey Google, is this right?" You can do the same thing, and it'll respond to you in voice if you're not prepared for writing it down. You know, these are digital marchers, and I said that earlier. Today's front line. You might not agree with them, but they are our front line. Amanda Seals, Killer Mike, David Banner, Tamika Mallory, Trevor Noel, D. Ray McKenzie, and there's some more out there, but I may not have named them, but you get a gist of what I'm saying, because you understand that these are people that's out there doing podcasts, coming on the airways. As a matter of fact, Don Lemon lost his position doing these same stories. Just want to tell you, people are sacrificing. And before I get off of here, I'm winding up in just a short. I'm not going to stay on here as long as I normally do. But I reminded you earlier about a story. And I don't know if I'm going to get this word, if I'm going to get it right, but I'm going to spell it for you to look it up. The Igbo lesson. And the real reason why I'm sharing this with you, because you need to understand that people make sacrifices long before Dr. Martin Luther King. And here's the story I'm going to share with you. Off the coast of Georgia, the Igbo, which is a group of people, had just got off the ship. And as they walked off the ship, they know the suffering that they had to get to the point of which they were going. And when they offloaded them on the ship, rather than go through anything else that was out there, you know what they did? They walked into the water singing, choosing death over slavery. I want to tell you, and they just landed in America, but they was willing to sacrifice their life and choose death over slavery. As we use this media, it's almost like we're going back. We're acting like we still have chains on us and we're in slavery. The way we treat this, the way we treat our platforms and the information that we share on one another, we're acting like we're still in slavery. What they did wasn't despair. That was principle. That was identity. That was a declaration of humanity in the face of inhumanity. So here's the question for us today: is whether or not whether or not we're going to use our technology. We're going to use this technology that we have. Whether or not we have the principle. Do we have the unity to stand together, 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 in spite of everything that they put before us? Do we have the courage to use every tool in our hands? Do we have the conviction to finish the work of those who knew they might not live to see the victory? That's a statement. That's a big statement there. But here's the other part. The march was for all of us. Dr. King couldn't see our tools of today, but he left us an assignment. Malcolm told us by any means necessary. The Black Panthers defended. Jesse Jackson organized. Al Sharpton mobilized. Benjamin Crump fought in the courts. Our broadcasts carry the message. Our podcasts, our social media, our pages, everything carries a message. But we need to make sure it's unified and it's the right message. Our actors carried the dignity. Our people carried the pain. And now we carry the responsibility they marched for. We broadcast. Now it's our turn to move, make a move, and go forward with what we're broadcasting. I want to share something with you. Tomorrow at Tuesday at 7:30 p.m., we're going to ask ourselves some serious questions. And we're going to have some answers to something that I didn't cover before. But I don't think we're prepared to hear the truth about it. Because we got some accountability that we have to make. We lost something. We have lost some things that helped us along the way. Not only people, but we have lost some things that helped us get to where we are. And we haven't even established our future yet. But if we don't go back and gather some of our past, things that made us great, we don't have a future. Tomorrow, I'm encouraging you to tune in. Let me see if I can bring it up. I don't know if the way I'm set up right now, I don't know if I can bring it to the stage. I'm trying to bring one thing to the stage because I need you to understand that if we don't go back and reclaim some of the stuff that we lost, we're not going to have a future. This is a flyer for tomorrow night, and I'll bring it to the stage so you can see it. If we're not able to go back and reclaim some of the stuff that we lost, there's no future. There's no future. We gave up our loss too easy. And the things that we lost in the Black church is a foundation that we need to have back. We need to take back our Black churches. It's a way in which we lost them that we're going to discuss tomorrow. I haven't figured out what I'm going to talk about on Wednesday, but I'm going to have a podcast on Wednesday at 1 o'clock the same time. If you have time or go back and listen to it, we're here. Now that we're here, what are we going to do with it? I done called out names of people that sacrificed for us to get here and did it the best way I know how. I took the time and the research to find it out. I wouldn't do this right without closing this out like this. We have to take responsibility for what we put out in the world. I sent this out to my friends this morning. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, go to my page, Ronald Spikes, on Facebook, and look at what I posted today. Because we have to take responsibility We can't put our false narratives on, and we can't sacrifice our own at no cost. If you see a story, if you see something that piques your interest out there, make sure to just do one thing. If you don't do nothing but Google, go in there and Google it. Make sure it's true before you spread the narrative. Because as black people, it's gonna hurt us twice as hard. It's gonna hit us twice as hard. It's gonna knock us out of wherever we're at. Now we gotta defend ourselves while coming back up based on a lie. Let that sink in. I'm gonna say thank God, thank God, thank God. I hope you got some information out of this. And I hope you come in and tune in tomorrow night at 7:30. Tomorrow night at 7:30, where it says what we lost in the black church. Thank you again for listening in. And wherever you are, just enjoy your day. I hope you get some barbecue ribs, sausage, brisket, or whatever you normally get on Memorial Day. But most of all, remember people gave their lives. They gave their lives for where we at right now. Y'all take care. Enjoy your day. I'm out.